And it says we're live, 10:03. Better late than never, I guess. Wednesday morning caffeine is on the air. I'm Dave Glover. You are not. With me this morning is Ichabod Palmer. You all know him from various broadcasts on Facebook and various interesting things that he does with his life. Randy Rhodes was invited to join us. I don't know if he will join us or not, but he was invited. And we will go. We will go anyway. What is new and exciting, Mr. Palmer?
Oh, the world's turned upside down.
Okay.
It's
Well,
been crazy. It's been crazy in my world. It really has. My wife officially got fired there a week. I haven't talked to anybody, so 2 weeks ago she was officially fired. Uh, Actually, every employee was fired over there. The Indians or the Pakistanians or the Towheads or whatever you want to call them come in and bought out their company and told the girls, "Hey, we're going to shut her down for 3 weeks, and we'll call you back in 3 weeks. We're going to shut down and remodel the store." Well, they never did shut the store down. They just kept going. That was a nice way to tell them, without directly telling them they're fired. So we already knew that, but thank God, Princeton, Missouri, is a town that has each other's backs. And in the last 2 weeks, this store's probably not done $5,000 worth of business because we have completely boycotted them and there's nobody doing business. The only people doing business with them is the out of towners that are just traveling through and don't know any better.
okay. Well, let's talk about happy things. Uh, you're working on some new cemetery restoration projects. Let's talk about that for a bit.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start 5 projects, and then I've got 30 new headstones I've got to get out before Memorial Day. I'm doing 3 cemeteries that are all basically combined into one because the township oversees, up in Iowa, there's not individual cemeteries with individual board members. It's usually like a township, and that township oversees like all the cemeteries in their township. So every year they get they allocate so much money for each individual job. So that's what we're doing. We're going in and fixing 3 of their cemeteries, which consist of 60 stones, and then I'll move on to Mount Olivet Cemetery, which is down in Kearney, Missouri, where Jesse James is buried. And I've
Ooh,
actually did work on that cemetery back in 2015, and we was on the news there, Fox 4, out of Kansas City, and they come and did a story on us. And then from there, I'll move over back into Iowa and do another big cemetery up there. So I've got a lot of stones to get repaired here in the next 3 weeks, and then I've got to go out and get a lot of new stones set before Memorial
now,
Day.
now, if anyone wants a stone, I mean, can you go anywhere that someone wants a stone, or do you stay local to a particular area?
I stay local. I'm right here in Missouri side, right on the Iowa Missouri border. But I have traveled to southern Missouri and up in the northern Iowa to set stone. I kind of, I've had people call me from Arizona, bought a stone, and we had it shipped out there. And then I've had people from out of state, like Pennsylvania, bought stones, but I set them here because the family was buried here. So
Okay, so how do people contact you if they're interested in discussing buying a stone?
phone calls, Messenger, Facebook, a lot of my business, I don't advertise. A lot of it's word of mouth. I mean, I've
Okay.
been doing since 1992, so I don't advertise a lot. I've tried to advertise before. I've paid for 3 different websites to be built. I've been screwed over on all 3 of them. The web builders, they just didn't follow through on their end.
No.
So I just gave up on that idea.
Okay. And moving along, let's see. I assume you're still prepping and prepping and prepping and prepping and prepping and working with
Yeah, I'm still
everybody you
prepping.
can
We
to prep.
we just did a meeting last Sunday where we're teaching people how to can food, can meat, can your vegetables, homemade tomato soup, homemade spaghetti sauce. They did a lot last week. Now,
Can you
unfortunately I couldn't be at that meeting. My wife was. Uh, I was out preparing, getting stuff ready for this job. So it takes 4 or 5 days when you have when your first job of the season, you haven't done anything for 3 or 4 months. It's kind of you got to takes a few days to get everything organized and back ready to go.
Yeah. Can you can meat? I mean,
Yeah.
I assume you can because you just said people were canning meat.
Yeah.
Never really thought about
Yeah, you
canned meat
can't eat. You
before.
don't have to refrigerate it. You can just store it on the shelf, and it don't go bad. It'll keep for up to 18 months.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yep.
Very, very, very interesting. What else is new and exciting?
Uh, Not a lot really. I mean, just kind of watching our six and watching everything going on around us. There's a lot of crazy things.
Yeah.
I know they sure sprayed us with the chemtrails yesterday, and right after they did that, I mean, it was a beautiful, sunny, blue sky day, and I put a video out of all these. I bet there was 30 planes all simultaneously flying around us and leaving these big,
Yeah.
look like satanic pentagram above us, and then all of a sudden, an hour later, it's nothing but cloudy everywhere, like a storm was coming in. I'm like, Jesus. I mean, pretty self-evident when they're doing it right in front of you and you see it.
Yeah, that's pretty. I've never understood it. Uh, and I guess they have to spray so much of it up there so that when there are clouds, they can get it into the clouds so they can rain it down on us. Just it has not
Population
made
control. Population control.
Population control, water contamination control. If you knew what was in it, you wouldn't drink it. Just like Ralph Nader used to say, if you couldn't pronounce the ingredients and you didn't know what they did, then it was not a food item you wanted to put in your body.
Right. I know it's going to be busy here for the next 3 months. It's my busy season. I got to get all this stuff done before Memorial Day. Plus, I'm prepping. Mushroom season's coming up in 2 weeks. Roughly. As soon as it gets warm enough and the ground temperature stay warm enough, we'll get enough rain. The mushrooms will start popping.
I'm sorry, my brain just went clear into left field. Ichabod Palmer's shrooms. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am.
I've got to get my greenhouse plastic. I got to get it all new plastic put on it. I got to get my guy over here to start tilling up the gardens and my deer food plots and all that here in the next 2 weeks. So I'll be busy doing that for about a week, planting. I've got so much stuff to get done and so little time and not very much help.
Yeah. As Geo Maga Man says, shitstorm all over this corrupt country. Very, very, very true. Geo, one of these mornings, you're more than welcome to pop on. Matter of fact, if you have access to being able to come on, I'll put the link up on the screen, and if you can get it typed in, you're more than welcome to pop in and join us in the morning. There's all the boring news that I really didn't want to get into, but I mean, her report is still there. He's being dragged through the House and eventually will get dragged through the Senate. It just seems to me that all he did was write a report that proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that President Biden is guilty of some things, and then left it that he didn't want. He wasn't going to suggest any of the penalties that could face Mr. Biden if this whole thing does in fact end up in a court somewhere.
It won't end up in the court. You know that. They're going to sweep it under the rug like they do everything else for the man.
I don't know if they're going to sweep it under the rug. I think they're just going to hold him in until something is flying over the house. They will hold it until the 2024 election, hoping that he wins, because if he wins, then he's tied up for another 4 years, and he can't be tried while he's president, because he can't be tried while he's president. If he is defeated by Donald Trump, which a lot of us hope happens, then the question is whether or not President Trump goes after him. And conspiracy theorists we all are, I would imagine that the Trump Justice Department will go after him for anything that they now have proof in her report that he's guilty.
They say he's too old. They won't, he's too forgetful and too old, and they won't, they're basically giving him a free pass. And if that's the case, then why in the hell is he still president? I mean,
right.
If he can't be tried and convicted, then he shouldn't be he should be removed from office like right now.
Right. Well, the problem that happens with a Biden impeachment is that the Republican House will vote to impeach him on a straight line party vote, not counting any rhinos that don't vote party. They will vote to impeach him, and that may be the majority, and he'll get an impeachment. But when it goes over to the Senate, where the Senate has the majority plus a lot of rhinos on their side, it won't happen. So, and they certainly, and they well, the Senate won't. Being a Democrat majority, the odds are they probably will not. They will not impeach him, so he'll get a slap on the wrist impeachment like Trump got twice. What does it mean? If he got a slap on the wrist impeachment from the Republican House, is that going to be enough to get Democrats not to vote for him in November? I don't think so. Whether or not the Democrats will hold true to the rumors that they're not going to run him in November, regardless of the fact that he won the nomination, they'll go into a brokered convention and they'll elect Gavin Newsom, governor of California, to become their nominee. And
I don't think so.
I don't think Newsom has enough to defeat Trump anyway. I don't think Newsom can defeat Trump. I really don't.
I don't think they're on you. They might try to bring in Newsom, but I think they're going to bring in Michelle Obama. I really.
She more and more videos I see of her make it clear she doesn't want it. She does not want it.
I know she says that, but what do Democrats do? They say one thing and do exactly the opposite.
You have to also figure, though, that if she gets elected, it's going to be another shadow term of Barack Obama, because she doesn't have the experience at all serving in any government to be a president, other than being a citizen of the United States of America and maybe understanding what's wrong and how she would fix it if she was president. But as far as real world experience, she was a lawyer. She met Barack at Harvard, and they got married, and they were corporate lawyers together at different places. And then he got elected president, and she put her law license on hold, although there were rumors that it was going to be taken away from her if she didn't. I've never been able to find any details of that case, but evidently there was some case that she is rumored to would have lost her law license in Illinois over if she didn't agree to give it up. She claims that she gave it up for the same reason Barack did, which was that there are continuing educational requirements as a lawyer, and as president of the United States, you don't have time to maintain that continuing education. They are listed as honorary members of the Illinois State Bar Association, but honorary members don't vote. They're just honorary members. Craig, I refer to him as as him. Sometimes I refer to her as sometimes I drop the L and the E off the end and say Michael. But, it wouldn't amaze me that maybe that story's proven true. There are a whole bunch of well-documented conspiracy theories that say that the children are not theirs. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. That it just means that even if they are Barack and Michelle Obama, that doesn't mean that the children aren't theirs in the sense that they didn't give birth to them. But that's neither here nor there. There's theories going around that Bill Clinton is not Chelsea Clinton's father. Webb Hubbell is, and so I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I don't see. If it was me, I wouldn't want to be president of the United States following my wife having served president of the United States, because everybody's going to think that she's going to be telling me what to do. And in her case, he is going to be telling her what to do. His famous comment on all the late night talk shows: if I could find someone who would listen to me through a speaker, in their ear and do and say what I tell them to do, yeah, I would run in a heartbeat. And that's what he's got with Biden. But if the crap hits the fan and it comes raining down on the Democrats, I think one of two things is going to happen. Either Joe Biden will be charged, and in court he will prove to them that he is completely insane and not able to be president of the United States, or in his own defense, he's just going to make a scene in the court, in a dementia moment, just start naming names of everybody who's been telling him what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And then, because like you said, I don't understand, the report says, beyond a shadow of a doubt, he is guilty of having classified documents that go back to when he was a senator, which he didn't have the right to have. He kept them as a vice president, which he wasn't allowed to do. He maintained them as president, which he wasn't allowed to do. And he keeps firing this thing back that, I'm not guilty here. Trump is. And the only thing Trump is guilty of is that maybe the House and the Senate are upset with things that he took with him. But the Presidential Records Act says, hey, you're the president. You can declassify just about anything you want and take it with you. And as I said last night with William, if people are bothered by that, then maybe it's time to rewrite the Presidential Records Act and change what a president is allowed to take with them.
Right.
And Trump's stuff was boxed up by the General Services Administration and at the White House and transported directly to Mar-a-Lago, where it was locked and put away the way a former president is supposed to do it. And you can go after, well, you can't go after some of them because they're not alive anymore. You can't go after George Bush Sr., but evidently he kept stuff in an abandoned furniture store that was not remotely secure. Evidently, Barack Obama did the same thing. Bill Clinton kept stuff in his sock drawer, which obviously has no security. At least Trump, the one time they did an inspection after the stuff was brought out to Mar-a-Lago and locked away was they said you might think about putting one more lock on the door to Suite 45, his office there. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a special lock that they thought would be but there was no concern for how things were being protected.
My thing is, he took all these as far I consider it stealing, but he took all these paperwork back when he was a senator. He was in the right mind then. I mean, just because they say he's not in the right mind now, I know a lot of people that's been convicted and tried for crimes that's not all up there in the head.
Right.
So what makes him different than anybody else? I mean, he knew what he was doing way back then. He knew it was illegal. I mean, just because he can't remember shit now, I mean, he remembers shit that happened way back in the past. So I mean, charge him.
Yeah,
that's what I say. Charge him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in my own case, from what I know of me is, I can have a conversation with you, and 15 minutes later, I can't remember any of it, but I can remember if you and I had that conversation 40 years ago, right down to the last detail. So, if that is true on him, he's going to be able to sit down and incriminate himself.
Right.
Or at least prove that he's guilty, and so I'm not as concerned really for what when and what he took, other than we don't know, aside from this ghostwriter on this book, we don't know for sure who he shared it with.
Right.
There's just no I mean, I don't know what the Democrats are thinking, if he is not reelected and he becomes a private citizen again, they won't be involved in it. They'll just because they know that the less they're involved in it, the less of a risk of him saying, well, this person was involved, naming names, and before you know it, there's no more Democrat Party because they're all living at Gitmo. But I don't get it.
Ban TikTok.
Well, this whole TikTok thing is nothing new. Getting rid of TikTok in the United States is nothing new. Everybody's acting like this is a brand new thing. This is the first time they've ever heard about it. And all I can say is bullpucky. Yeah. Because when Trump was president, Chris Wray, who was FBI director then, did a report on it and gave him a very detailed report of how the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, was using TikTok USA to spy on Americans. And then, so Trump had decided, Beijing ByteDance needed to either sell it or it was going to be shut down. And Walmart and Larry Ellison, who started Oracle, were going to team up and buy it. I guess the details had already been worked out. No payment amount had been made public, but it was all worked out. And then at the last minute, the election happened. Joe Biden became king and decided that, of course, anything involving the CCP is okay. So they didn't have to sell. Chris Wray is a holdover, meaning that he's Biden's FBI director too. He was Trump's FBI director before. And the report that Biden got said that it was even worse than it was during Trump. And I'm sure it's bad now. And, I laugh because people on Facebook tell me, oh, well, we leave Facebook and we go over to TikTok, and we do things on TikTok because we don't get in trouble for doing them on TikTok. Of course you don't, because the Chinese Communist Party watches everything you do.
Right.
And everything that you say. But, I was reading yesterday that Rumble now wants to ultimately be involved in the partnership because it looks like a consortium of big tech companies want to buy it together. And evidently Rumble provides cloud service for it. So it would make sense that they would want to be part of it also. But, I don't understand it, either shut it down. I mean, if you got proof that they're violating Americans, then you shut it down because they're violating Americans. But also, evidently, China has said that if TikTok is banned in the U.S., it could come back and bite the United States. I have to go back and read that article and understand exactly what the threat from China is on that. But, I personally think it's just another thing that came up to take the spotlight off of Joe Biden and the Her report.
Yeah,
because
a lot of things they're bringing up to distract.
Because Her doesn't decide the penalties; he just decides the charges, and the charges. If it went into court now, it wouldn't be that long a trial, and it would probably be done before the election, and he wouldn't be able to run.
Right.
Whether or not he goes to jail and lives out the years that he has left, that to me wouldn't be any threat if I was president, because he can't be held in general population. He has to be held somewhere private. His Secret Service team goes with him. His White House chef probably goes with him. And he just lives in this presidential suite at Gitmo or wherever they send him until he dies. He won't have any contact with the outside world, at least that we know of. He'll probably have the best internet in his cell and still be on doing whatever they allow him to do. But I've also read the headline. I have to go back and read this article, but evidently there are some people in the United States that right now think the U.S. government should recognize the Palestinian state. And if that means recognize Gaza and the West Bank as the Palestinian state, my response is, if you go back in the Bible, and which is the best history book at the time, wasn't the Palestinian state at the time of the Bible somewhere in Syria, or somewhere in what is now Syria?
I'm not sure about that. I know in the old Bible that Israel was not even a state. It wasn't even listed in that.
Well, no, Israel wasn't. Israel was created, I think, in 1948.
Yeah, right after World War II. Yep.
Right. And the way I understand it is that this country said, we own this corner. 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 We're all going to donate the corners. In the center is Jerusalem. And the only thing we require is that everybody who has a claim to Jerusalem, not just the Jews, has access to Jerusalem. And to me, that sounded fair. But by the same token, I've said many times that, if the world did this for Israel, then maybe Israel and the world is responsible for helping the Palestinians get a home state. But they can't just march in and say, we want Gaza and the West Bank, because we've decided that was our home. That was our home before. And I can't imagine that the Syrian government, if it's proven that somewhere in Syria is actually the original home state of Palestine. I can't see Syria giving up any land. So I don't really know what that answer is. Somebody needs to come on and tell me what that answer.
I don't know. I'm just tired of all of us American taxpayers having to spend money to fund other countries and build walls and help them, and we're not even doing nothing for our own. That's what pisses me off.
I don't understand why Joe Biden, as vice president, after his famous speech in Ukraine, if you don't get rid of that attorney general, I'm going to hop on the plane and I'm going to take this $1 billion check. This $1 billion check that I have from you or for you from President Obama is going to go back on the plane with me, and you're not getting it. The vice president of the United States does not have the authority to do something like that. So he should have been, when he got off the plane in the United States, taken into custody and fully investigated. And when this was confirmed, he probably should have been removed from politics right then and there.
Right.
I don't know if it's a death penalty. I don't know if it's life in prison. But the bottom line is that, if Trump was a vice president, if Trump was the vice president at the time and he did it, they would have gone berserkly crazy. And if the Senate Democrats got a report from Robert Hur about Trump being in the same condition that Biden is in, and documenting evidence of how he abused the office of president, they would have, both sides, the House and the Senate, would have impeached him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just seems to me in Joe Biden's brain, and I don't know the condition of his brain, the true condition, is just here's so much about Trump did this, Trump did that, he's accused of doing this, he's accused of doing that. And maybe he's just thinking, hey, I'm president and I don't get accused of any of that, so maybe I have to go do some of that. But I do not know.
I keep telling everybody here lately, welcome to socialism. Communism is right around the corner.
Yep. And I keep telling people there's nothing wrong with socialism. It's just generalized poverty. Everybody has the same. But, that's the thing that's wrong with it. We are a country that was created of capitalists for capitalists, and the government isn't supposed to be running us. We're supposed to be running the government.
Right.
But I don't know.
Now it's tax time and everybody's really seeing it. I know a lot of kids around here that's just starting new families they get child tax credit and all that, and they get back a refund every year. Well, now they're having to pay in and nothing's changed in their life. So that tells me that our government, the IRS, are really trying to scrape up money from somebody somewhere to pay for something because they're broke.
Well,
my daughter called me the other night bawling. Said, Dad, nothing's changed in my life. Last year I got X amount of dollars back. This year they want me to pay $4,000.
Yeah.
Well,
personally, I think the IRS has outlived its
well, the IRS is illegitimate. It's illegal as hell.
Right. But I'll give them their explanation that it was created to collect taxes to pay the King of England back for the war, right. Because the king financed both sides of the war, and this is what I don't understand. It just seems to me that all the King of England really did was create the biggest, baddest reenactment of a war, and he won either way.
Right. He didn't lose nothing.
Right. So the question is, do we still belong to England, or are we free and clear of England? Is it going to be?
We're still slaves. We're still slaves to a corporation that don't exist.
Is it
I
still?
tell everybody we are free range slaves. That's what we are.
Is it going to be Jesus, God, Jesus, Trump, and King Charles that come to the United States when the world is all over?
I've been waiting for him to send one of them IRS agents to my house. It's not going to be a good deal for him.
No. I keep waiting that one of these days they're going to tell me you don't get Social Security anymore because the government needs money in order to support the illegals, and that's
it's coming. It's coming, Dave. You wait.
We're gonna take it. Well, it's sad now because I'm not able to go out and have a job again, and
a lot of people on Social Security, their benefits are being reduced.
Yeah.
That's got to tell you something.
Well, they need to leave that money alone. I don't care what party you are. They need to understand that money isn't theirs to touch.
Back when Trump was in office, a lot of people who got Social Security, their benefits increased. Now all of a sudden, with Biden's so great economy, it's decreasing. Now what's that? If the economy's so great, why?
Trump gave us the largest raise, I think, we had ever gotten at the time. I don't remember what it is. I know Biden gave us, I think Biden tried to give us like 9.2%, I think. I think it got whittled down to 8.7%. And I think by the time we got it that year, it was the standard 3%.
Yeah.
Because Nancy Pelosi, I'm sure, was in his ear every day. Oh, no. We can't give those people that much more money. They'll vote us out. Anyway, I don't really know. Anything else? Anything else this morning?
Not on my end. End.
All right. So remind people on the projects that you have going. Are you gonna do broadcast or take film of the restoration projects and post that, or have you
I probably won't be able
yet?
to on this first one. I've got to get some money together, and I'm going to go buy me a camera. But right here, the first cemetery, probably no.
Okay.
As soon as I get some funding together and get me a good camera, I will be doing some things. Hopefully that'll happen here in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. All right.
So I'm hoping.
And I hope your wife does better financially at replacing you in the butcher shop.
Yeah, I'll be going back next fall. They didn't want me to leave.
Yeah.
They're all. Dolly and I are the old people in this locker. They're a whole bunch of young kids. These young kids took it over and bought it. So they kind of look up at us as, their elders and ask us for their opinions and stuff like that, in life. So it's kind of cool, but they begged me not to leave, and I told them, hey, I got to do my thing, but I will be back with them next fall.
Good.
So,
all right. Well, it was a pleasure having you here this morning. We're going to end a little early just because I think I'm out of everything that I brought. So
I got to get around and get ready. One of my employees going to be here in a little bit. We got to go take care of some more stuff today. So,
I fed my dogs early, and I promised my wife I would take her out for bagels because I really wanted to go out for bagels today.
Well, I throw my back out yesterday and got my butt.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yep. Be careful. You made it sound like you were going to be doing all kinds of work. Then don't hurt your back. Your back.
Well, my back's already in bad shape, and I didn't wear my back brace yesterday. And my guy couldn't show up yesterday, so I went ahead and I loaded about I don't know, a couple £1,000 worth of stuff on my truck. But
Ouch.
I have a crane on my truck that I did a lot of lifting with, but a lot of it I lifted just by myself, and I knew better, but I did it anyhow.
Be careful. Be careful. All right, sir. You're welcome back anytime, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that you want to join us. Thursday, we have a special interview, so I'm not sure, Jen. I'm not sure if Jen is going to pick a panel that she wants or not have a panel. I haven't decided. I haven't heard from her on that and made the final decision.
Have you heard anything out of Nikki lately?
I did hear from Nikki yesterday. I had invited him to join Tuesday and Thursday if he wanted to. I left it completely up to him. Didn't discuss any issues.
Nikki,
I really would like to get Nikki on. He's a funny guy. He's a smart guy. He's a funny smart guy.
I like Nicky. I think the world of Nick. I think he's a good dude.
He was going to be on last night, but I think something happened, and he and his mother and father were at his father's cardiologist out of town, so he at the last minute was not able to be with us. And we send our positive thoughts, vibes, and prayers to Father.
I love them good old coon asses down there, boy, and they're serving food.
I would really like to get Nikki's mother on with Nikki sometime, because from what I understand, the analogy is that like Nikki is like 6'5". He's not that tall, but like Nikki is like 6'5", and his mother is like 5 feet tall. So but she rules the house. She always did. And his father was police officer, police chief for a long time in the military. And Dee.
Cut it out.
So, like to get him on. So hopefully we will get him on in the coming weeks. And on that note, where are your back brace today?
I'm going to.
Okay.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Watch your sticks. Stay vigilant. God bless you all.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to think about beat me to it. He got to launch his own parachute. And Geo Magaman, you are more than welcome if you have a camera and a microphone and you want to come on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. until we end. Usually it goes till about 11 o'clock. We allow 11:30. And Tuesday, Thursdays, if it's a general open discussion broadcast, you're more than welcome. If it's an interview, Jen Woodruff, if she's doing the interview, picks the panel if she wants the panel. On Thursday, Robert Angel Little. Go look him up on Google. Robert Angel Little. Grew up in Romania, I believe came to the United States in 1995. Had a really interesting growing up in Romania, came to the United States and had an even more fascinating growing up and life in the United States. I think you will enjoy. Had a very interesting growing up in the United States. I think everybody will learn a lot, and it is possible that Robert might decide to join Tuesday and Thursday, or Tuesday or Thursday with us. And Tuesday the 19th at 7 p.m., Jen Woodruff will direct a panel, because I know that there are a lot of people that are going to want to be on the panel with her. But Bonnie Johnson, who is a United States humanitarian aid person, she has been active in child trafficking rescue operations with different military, and can speak volumes on what she experienced in doing that. She's also very active in veteran affairs in the United States, primarily homeless veterans. So we will discuss that. And any questions that you might have for her. That's next Tuesday, the 19th of March at 7 p.m. on Tuesday Night Live. And don't know what the Thursday will be on that week. And Boogie with the Bull, Friday morning caffeine. We salute Red Friday. So watch us. It's Remember Everyone Deployed Friday. We will discuss that on Friday. We will hopefully go over some news of the day and get you thinking. Also, Michael Zephyr, who you all know is a trucker by trade, has that beautiful patriotic tractor and trailer that you see all over the country, and you see in a lot of the convoys and things around the country, is going to take on the undertaking of that document that the Hoover Institute has on Operation Paperclip. He is going to sit in front of a cell phone for as long as it takes him to get that put together, because that's all he has. But he said that's how he wants to do it. He is going to take that and he is going to get it posted in the Red Patriots for America group, I believe. And we will launch a conversation on that. I'm hoping, because of Michael's background, to try to find time to get Michael on Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern broadcast to let Michael talk about his background and how he saw things. And it would be very interesting to do that. So on that note, it's 10:50, and we're going to end before 11 o'clock because I said I would. This is the part of the broadcast where I remind you you've been watching Boogie with the Bull Wednesday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. I want to thank Ichabod Palmer for joining us. Randy Rhodes did not make it onto the broadcast this morning. From what I understand, the negotiators at the No Budget Broadcasting Company are now working with Randy Rhodes to try to bring him back as a co-host and political commentator for the No Budget Broadcasting Company. So if you see Randy, tell him you want to see him on Boogie with the Bull Morning Caffeines, and if it's available, you want to see him on Tuesday night and Thursday night live. Geo Mega Man, like I said, if you're interested and you're around in the mornings, join us 10 a.m. Eastern. Adjust your time accordingly. 10 a.m. Eastern, let me know, and you're more than welcome Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll go from there. Dr. Craig Peterson, you owe me 20 minutes. You owe me 20 minutes. I know that you either are still doing child psychology or you have retired from doing child psychology, and either way, if you're doing it or you're retired from it, this 6.2-year-old child would love to have you on for about 20 minutes. It will just be a lot of interesting information that will come out. Probably a lot of funny information, too. So you're welcome to come on. And Danny Campbell, who has watched almost as many Boogie with the Bull broadcasts as William Grant, it's always a pleasure to have you watching. And I think that covers just about everybody who watched. John Penn, I can't say it, but John Panagos. I should have asked him when I met him how to pronounce his last name. John, if I said it wrong, John is watching, and I'm glad that you watched, John, and hopefully we can get together and down coffee and talk politics in the future as well. Maybe even have you on the broadcast if you got a camera and a mic and people in your house that you want to aggravate by talking politics on Facebook and YouTube. We are live on the Dave Globin profile here on Facebook, and we are live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Do me a favor, go over to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, And if you ever decide you want to take a Boogie with the Bull broadcast and share it off of Facebook, go over to the YouTube channel and share it from the YouTube channel. But anyway, last thing I'm going to tell you about is Family Treasures page here on Facebook. Family Treasures page here on Facebook. It is a project, a crochet business of my wife, Donna, and our daughter-in-law, Angela. They make beautiful things out of crochet. And unfortunately, I bother my wife for red, white, and blue every time, but this is a red, white, and blue pumpkin that she did. Octopus, red, white, and blue. I always ask my wife for red, white, and blue every time she shows me something that she did. I always go, "Oh, you got to make it in red, white, and blue," so I can have it on the desk with me. And, go to the Family Treasures page, take a look around. You will see all kinds of things that you can buy. You need to message them because prices are not posted. And special projects can be done as well. And in the near future, the craft shows in the area that they will be at will be listed on April 6th in Fleming Island here in Florida. So if you're here in Florida in the Clay County area on April 6th, I'm going to go help my wife. And we're going to sell $1 trillion worth of crochet because everybody's going to come and buy and give her projects, and she will be very happy because one of the most happiest times in my life, in my wife's life, is when she is crocheting and making stuff that people want. And the words are getting tired coming out of my mouth, so it's 10:55, and it's time to go have breakfast. Go have breakfast. Go out there and make it a great day. Live well and prosper. And Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. That's number one. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast came to an end right